wow. Like, honestly, what can I say other than wow? That game was an absolute thriller, action-packed drama from a neutral perspective. That game would have been perfect to watch. So much action, so much drama would have been so enjoyable from a neutral fan. But from a Man United fan perspective, that game was quite an annoying result. I think that we were definitely the better team in the game, and I think that we should have come out of that game not just with a draw, but with a win. The fact that we didn't is because of individual mistakes by players. The overall game, we dominated, and yeah, we did dominate. But to be honest, I don't think it was just because that we were good. I think Galatasaray were set up in a way that made it so easy for us to dominate that game. We're going to go straight to that now. So Galatasaray set up in this 4-1-2-3 sort of pressing formation, and they tried to counter us and win back the ball with two strikers and a sort of a number 8 playing as a number 10. This actually made it very, very, very easy for us to break through their midfield, as we saw several times in this game. I think players like Casemiro, Mount, and Hannibal, particularly in the first half, were able to do this so well. What would happen is this guy, Lindelof or Onana, whoever's on the ball here, all it would take was for Mason Mount to just make a simple drop in movement here, and then as he would get pressed by the players, he would then just spin away into space. And we saw that so many times in that game, so many turns, half turns with Hannibal and Mason Mount, Casemiro just taking the ball on the half turn, spinning the Galatasaray players around. And that's what led to so many quick transition plays. Quick on the break, we just suddenly bang, quick turn, quick turn, quick turn, quick turn. And I think the biggest problem with us in that moment was that we weren't able to capitalize on those chances. We had so many opportunities with Bruno and Rashford and Mount. Obviously, one of Mount's shot even hit Hannibal. It almost went in. But I think the biggest thing that we have to look at in the game is that why weren't we clinical enough? The only real clinical player on that pitch was Højlund, who got two goals, one being disallowed, also and another one being disallowed. Sorry, so could have got a hat trick if he weren't offside for that. I think that was our biggest problem today in the possession of the ball. I don't think that this is something that we can say, oh well, this is such an amazing thing that we've done today. I cannot say that that's true because I feel like against a tougher team, a tougher of opponent, someone who's in the Premier League, someone who is just better tactically, we won't see in like this sort of formation, we won't see this sort of weird pressing style where it's so easy for our midfield to just take the ball on the half turn and get away. It was very, very easy for us to do that today. And in a game like this, an opponent like this this just makes the result even more annoying than it already is. Like this is what makes this result annoying because it's not that we were amazing. We Galatasaray was so poor in the structure and we exploited that perfectly. I don't understand why we didn't capitalize on the chances we created. Why we just couldn't get that final ball correct, or we couldn't get the shot on goal. I mean, we saw with the corner, Dallo. Sorry, not a corner. Dallo wins the ball of Zaha into Ericsson. Lovely flick onto Rashford, who then messes up the square pass to Bruno. It's moments like that in games like this where you just sit and think, why can we score? And we have the striker now. We have Højlund, and he got two goals today, one another one being disallowed. But everyone else has to put in their shift as well. Rashford's got how many goals last season, and he's really, really fallen off a cliff this year. Bruno's supposed to be a good player. He can't find the back of the net either. We do not have enough clinical players in the final third. Another positive in this game for me was the Casemiro, Hannibal, Mason Mount midfield. I think that this midfield had so much more stability than what we've seen if we had Bruno in there with Hannibal or Bruno with Mason Mount. This midfield looked like they can take care of the ball, and I think Hannibal's dribbling was key. He would quickly just makes like quick good maneuvers here and there, spinning defenders, taking the ball on the half turn, spinning defenders there and there. Casemiro, I think today wasn't a great. Obviously, he got the red card, but other than that, it wasn't his best game on terms of on the ball. Some of his passing was a bit sloppy, but he did definitely do the defensive work very, very well. He made a lot of good tackles. Mason Mount, similar to Hannibal, just very mobile in that midfield, and we looked after the ball well. And one of the criticisms I've had in the past with Man United is that with Bruno in that midfield, is very, very wasteful at times. On the wing, it's a whole different story. You have, instead of being a wasteful midfielder, you have a creative winger. And I don't think this is a good long-term solution. Bruno Fernandes will get found out if he plays on the wing. He is not a winger, but he has to either adapt his game to be able to play in the number 10, or he has to take some time out and we play this Hannibal Mount and Casemiro midfield, and possibly even get Ericsson or even maybe Donny in that, or Amrabat obviously has to come in that midfield as well. Right now we have a right wing issue. Anthony just came back today, which is nice to see. But I think if Bruno can get that creativity on the wing, and again he's a good player on the, he's not a winger, and if you're trying to play Bruno Fernandes out of position, it's not going to end in a good way. But in today's game, in a game like that, when you need creativity, he gave, because he's someone who whenever he gets the ball just wants to play the incredible pass, the creative pass every time he gets it. When you're a midfielder, you need to look after that ball. You need to be patient. As a winger, on the other hand, you can just try and make those passes because you're in areas where when you're on the wing, you're just open on that side of the pitch because you can just, if you just hit a ball and hope, it's a lot more likely versus when you're in the middle of the park and you're trying to find those narrow alleyways to just sneak a ball in. It's very, very difficult, and you will end up losing the possession a lot. So I did like that dynamic a bit better. Mason Mount, Casemiro, Hannibal, and then Bruno on the wing. That I preferred that today. Another positive today for me was actually Rashford's performance. I think last season he came in and he was just, there was a time in like the early in the year, and also just after the World Cup, where he was just on fire from the left hand side, just scoring. This season he's got a lot of criticism and his confidence is a lot lower. I think for me, I saw today's performance compared to the previous performance, and it was definitely an improvement there. What I will say, however, is he this season seems to be playing a lot better when he's on the right hand side. I know as a long term solution, Rashford playing on the right hand side is not going to be an answer because he hates playing there. He said it himself that he finds it difficult. This season, when Rashford's on the right hand side, he gets into these positions, and normally when he tries to cut inside, let's say if you look at the position where it says number 8 for Bruno here, he's always wanting to cut inside. So when he does cut inside, he only has like the this sort of a restricted range of passing options. He can either try and go for the shot there, but he only really has this lane of passing, and in that section, it's very hard to get the ball to a striker who's trying to run most likely in a direction that way. It's very difficult. I think for Rashford, when he's on the right hand side, however, he's obviously going to be a lot more natural at just simply crossing the ball. So here, his passing options are probably in an angle here, which is exactly in the direction where Højlund is going to attack. And we saw that with the first goal. Ball comes over the top from Casemiro, just stumps that into the box, and Højlund just devours that. And it's a fantastic header, but a brilliant play from Rashford. And that was one of the few glimpses where we saw Rashford on the right, and he got an assist. Another time when we saw Rashford on the right was again that counter attack with Dalot to Ericsson, lovely ball. Rashford pace, and he almost got another assist for Bruno. It was either he probably, if he was more confident, he may have shot that. If it was just a bit awake, a bit more clinical, he would have squared that to Bruno. That was again a missed opportunity. We have to learn to capitalize on these opportunities. We can't give up these chances anymore. It's too much now. We have to improve at being more clinical, not just with our shooting, but that final ball and playing in the final third. We have to be more clinical. So in that game, there were quite a few positives to take away. And again, I want to make this very clear. I don't think that we would have had a game like, if we would have been so dominant in the game if we were playing a decent Premier League side, even like anything from Brentford upwards in the Premier League table. I think that against a team like Galatasaray, where I think Galatasaray got a bit lucky. They left so much space in the midfield. We were easily able to turn their midfielders with Mason Mount and Hannibal and just exploit the spaces and get into transitions. But again, our final ball, our shooting was just off. Unfortunately, despite the majority of the performance in the majority of the game, we still lost. And I believe that was due to a few mistakes. But before we go into the mistakes that caused us to concede 3 goals, I'm going to talk about the 2 goals that we did score, both from a shining star in Rasmus Højlund. I think there's always going to be a lot of criticism when it comes to if you're the Man United goalkeeper, if you're the Man United captain, if you're a Man United striker, or your name is Cristiano Ronaldo, you're going to be criticised. I think right now pundits and people around the world, because Højlund's quite new and he's a bit of a different striker, they're going to be a bit lenient. But I guarantee within a few months, people are going to start criticising everything he does, saying, "Oh, he hasn't got a Premier League goal yet." Blah 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 blah. He scored 3 goals in his last 2 Champions League games. And he could have got 4. He could have got a hat trick today if he was just a bit more awake and was just a bit. If we had, I think it was just a lacking chemistry. I think if he knows Mount's going to play that pass, I don't think he really expected it. If he knows Mount's going to play that pass, he's going to be in an onside position. He's going to be wanting to attack that ball, but I just don't think he was ready for it. The first goal that he scored again, brilliant from the whole team. Casemiro, lovely ball. Rashford, lovely cross, and just that aggression, that power from Højlund. We don't really see that. I mean, we wouldn't see that from any other striker in our team, right? If Rashford or Martial or even Bruno or whoever's playing at the number 9 position, he's the only one who's going to be that aggressive and that physical to go to challenge that ball. And that's not a criticism of someone like Martial, who I do think is going to play a very important role this season, and I would like to see a lot more of. But it's just a different kind of striker. It's a lot more of a physical striker. Martial's a bit more of a technical link-up play striker. This is a different kind of striker, and we need that. We don't want a lot of strikers who are all the same kind of caliber. We need variety in our team, and hopefully that in some games we'll play Martial, some games we'll play Højlund, depending on what kind of striker that we need and the way we're going to play and approach that game. The second goal is just sublime. It's absolutely sublime. As soon as he got that ball, I was like, this is a goal. As soon as I saw that slip, I was like, come on, Højlund. And I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, but the game, how did we lose that? I don't understand. But yeah, incredible pace. Like he runs like Haaland. The way he's just like running, he just looks like Haaland. But to just get there with that much speed, then slow down at the right moment, and then just chip it. It was just beautiful, beautiful from Rasmus Højlund. And I mean, to see goals like that and a performance like that from Højlund, and then we lose the game is just it's heartbreaking. But we did lose the game. And there's obviously a reason for that. You don't just lose. We clearly wasn't like referee issues or fraud. We weren't. It was our fault that we lost the game. I'm gonna go through the mistakes in that game. The first one was the first goal. Again, I've written down that it was against the runner playing. It was just a mistake and it was unlucky. And I agree, and I still believe that. I think that I think we were unlucky. I think we were unlucky with that first goal. Yeah, Dallo could have been a bit more physical, but Zaha's a strong player. Onana on the first goal, he couldn't really done anything else. I think he was expecting to come out, and then it's a bit different. In those situations, it's difficult because you're expecting to come out, but then you also want to shoot. Or if he was on his line, but then what if Zaha was 1-on-1? It was like it's difficult in that situation. You're like caught between 2 positions, and he couldn't really have gone more forward, and because he would just hit Dallo, and that would have got confused there. And if he stayed on his line, if Zaha got past Dallo, that would have been poor goalkeeping in that sense. So I can't really blame him. He did look a bit funny the way he dived on that though. Um, the second goal was it was when they ran down the wing. Yeah, they did this, when we had this. Yeah, Casemiro wasn't sent off. It was 2-2 before we went down to 10 men. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Amrabat is a fantastic player, and I think he's going to be a great signing to our team. But he's not a left back. He's not a full back. And I think there were 2 occasions today where he got exploited for his pace. And again, he's playing a makeshift role. I mean, you can't really. It's like we don't. Reguilon's out, Luke Shaw's out, Lassia's out, Wan-Bissaka's out. We need someone back, and we need them fast because Amrabat should be in our midfield. I think he didn't really have too much. I didn't really notice him too much in that game as I probably would have. And today, I think today was his worst performance in a Man United shirt. In the first game against Crystal Palace in his debut in the EFL Cup, he was outstanding. Up until we conceded the first goal against Palace in the Premier League, he was very very good. And then ever since we conceded that goal against Palace, I haven't really noticed him. I just haven't noticed him today. I think he was not complete. He wasn't completely at fault for this goal, but he was outpaced, and you can't really blame him. He's not a fullback. You can't say oh blah 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 because he's a TDM. He's gonna get outpaced by a winger. But he's right. They're both running there, and he gets. There was a couple of times it happened. There was another time before it happened, and he just gets absolutely done with that pace. And then in this position when the winger crosses the ball in, Lindelof has lost the man. The ball goes right through Rafa Varane, right through him. That ball just goes straight through Varane. I mean, it's Varane's a fantastic player. He's our best centre back. That's for certain. But I mean, it's just one of those where it's just again just a bit unlucky. It's just unlucky. It's those things where the ball's coming at you so fast that you can't really adjust your feet to just get it out, and it just gets megged, and it's just unlucky. I think Lindelof and Casemiro maybe could have done better, but at that point, the player who scored the goal, I don't know who it was, but he'd already gone by the time the winger was 1v1 with Amrabat. That player had already passed Lindelof and Casemiro. It would have taken a lot of speed to catch him up, and I think Amrabat. If he was, we needed a left back in that. We needed if we to stop that goal, we need a left back. Somebody who's quick enough to cope with the pace of that winger, and then we also need. Varane could have done better. Lindelof could have done better. Casemiro could have done better. These four players are probably the four players who are the least of my worries right now. The least of my worries. I think they've been so consistent for so long. I think that whole group probably shares collective on that fourth goal. I just think the player outpaced Lindelof and Casemiro. Not outpaced them, but just reacted faster, anticipated faster. And Lindelof and Casemiro, I don't think they really stood a chance of catching that player up. Even if you had the fastest centre back in the world, I don't think you would have caught them up. I think it was just a reaction thing rather than a pace thing. And again, the cross into the box going through Varane was unlucky. The fact that the winger outpaced Amrabat was unlucky because we're done with injuries, and it's just unfair. The stress on the squad is just too much right now. Then came the most deciding factor in the game, the red card. When I go through the player ratings, I'm going to talk about the Onana signing a bit more, but the pass out from Onana, there's no excuse for that. You're going to sign a new goalkeeper for £45 million. Okay, I'll go through Onana now because I might as well. You're going to sign a new goalkeeper for £45 million because he can pass the ball better. And you can see the goal like that. And the mistake against Bayern, I was fuming because I haven't seen Onana make any real massive world-class saves that I've seen De Gea make. There have been too many goals this season that I see, and I go, if De Gea was in goal, we could have stopped that. If De Gea was in goal, we could have stopped that. Too many. At least one a game. At least one a game. And we signed a goalkeeper because he can play out the back and pass better. Yes, it was a mistake. I understand that. But isn't that why we signed him, so that we didn't make those mistakes? And people talk about Onana and his so-called amazing passing. He just boots. What happens is we pass the ball to Onana. He waits for 2 or 3 seconds. Lets the ball come to him, rolls the ball out, waits a few seconds, boots it up the pitch. We don't win the header. Sometimes because we have Højlund, we don't win the first header, but because we have Højlund, he's physical enough to push that player back so they hit it into an area where another team can win the second ball. So one of our players on our team, another player on our team can win the second ball. If De Gea had Højlund, the same thing would happen. People blamed De Gea for the fact that he was going long and he didn't make any passes. The fact that we didn't make any passes was because we didn't have a physical aerial striker who could Not necessarily win the header, but challenge the defender enough so that the second ball would go into an area of contest. Let me explain that. Again, Onana would boot the ball into some area here, and it's not dissimilar to what De Gea did. It's quite similar to what De Gea did, and you would see Højlund and the centre back come and attack that ball. And what would happen is when the ball goes up, Højlund and the centre back come in, and as the ball goes towards them, Højlund doesn't necessarily win the header, but he pins the defender back so that the defender has to head it forward. He can't let that ball go behind him. What we used to see with Rashford at striker, with Martial, even Ronaldo when we had him, Weghorst when we had him, the defender could just simply take a step back or even a step forward, make sure that Weghorst or whoever the Rashford, Martial, whoever the striker was, wouldn't get a chance to head the ball, and would just see the ball behind him, and the defender behind him can just easily sweep that up. When this happened, people blamed De Gea, said, "Oh, it's De Gea's distribution, blah blah blah." It's the fact that we didn't have a focal point in the attack, as someone who can be ping the ball to. You notice today we do the exact same thing. We're still booing the ball forward. People blame De Gea that it's because of De Gea that we're booing the ball forward. We're still doing it. We have the new fancy goalkeeper everyone wanted. We're still pinging that ball all the way to the final third. The difference is now we have a striker who can push that centre back forward, push that centre back backwards, and get the ball into an area in that there where we have players who can go and challenge and win that ball. Casemiro can come and easily take that ball in. Really, the centre defender or Mount or whoever Hannibal can just come in and take the ball easily. We haven't changed the way we play just because we have an honour. We're getting a lot more second balls because we have a focal point in the attack. And we spent £45 million on a goalkeeper who is worse at saving shots, who fumbles a cross. He's supposed to be so good at claiming crosses. He fumbles it, and they are millimetres away from scoring a goal. Plays a terrible pass. Casemiro has to give away a penalty, gets a red card. And I don't blame Casemiro for that. I think Mertens is very clever. He gears up to shoot, sees Casemiro sliding in from ages away, puts his leg out, and then wins a penalty. And I understand people say, "Oh well, they did it against Brentford," but we don't need to pay £45 million. And remember that De Gea could actually save shots, incredible shots. Out of all the options available with De Gea gone, I am a strong believer that Onana is the best one. Diogo Costa is worse than this. David Raya is a risk. Onana is the safest option out of everyone. He's the best option out of everyone. The problem was, why did we sell De Gea? Why did we let him go for free? The team last season was terrible at scoring goals, but was incredible at defending. 17 clean sheets, 9 goals conceded at home, 1 loss at home in all competitions, I believe. Or at least in the Premier League. And that was the very, very first game against Brighton. After the first game, which is Eric Ten Hag's first ever Premier League game, we never lost a game at home. And conceded only another 7 goals at home in 18 games. Now the defence is shambles. And we still cannot score goals. And the one person that's changed in this defence is the goalkeeper. Lindelof played so many games last year. Varane played a lot of games. Dalot played a lot of games. Yes, we don't have a left back. But the left back in these teams have never been an issue. I've never once seen and thought, if we had a better left back, other than today. With Amrabat's pace, he looked a bit out of position. And the final goal, Amrabat, wrong option in the pass. He made a mistake again. That one is probably a bit more. I expect better from Amrabat. He made a poor pass. Varane, Lindelof were all in a position expecting a progressive pass. They were all pushing forward, expecting that we'd have possession. We lose the ball, and the striker their striker is now Icardi is now behind them, but still onside because Amrabat's in a deeper position. People probably blame Varane and Lindelof for that goal, but you're not thinking straight. Varane and Lindelof are expecting us to keep possession. That's normal. You cannot play football and every pass you make, what if the pass goes wrong? I'm not going to go forward then. Otherwise, you never ever have fullbacks attacking. You never ever have a centre back stepping out. You never see those things. I think Amrabat, should have played it to one of the centre backs or maybe even Dallo in that position. I think the choice. I didn't know who he was passing to. Who was he passing to? I don't actually know who he was passing to. I think Amrabat's a perfect signing, and I've seen some of the stuff he's done in the last couple of games. Not necessarily today, but in the previous two. Absolutely class player. But today, that third goal was a mistake that he can't be excused. Again, Onana, I think the commentator said Onana should have done better. Maybe he could have. I don't know if he really. To be fair, I'm not going to put too much emphasis on Onana on the final goal because Lindelof and Varane were expecting a progressive pass. We were down to 10 men. The team was out of shape. No one really knew what position to play without Casemiro in the team. And yeah, I think if we had 10 men, that wouldn't have been a goal. If we had 10 men, sorry, if we had 11 men on the pitch, that wouldn't have been a goal. The final thing is the player ratings. Onana, I've said what I've said about Onana. As a signing, in this moment in time, as soon as we sold De Gea, I knew we made a mistake. I know how difficult it is to be a Man United goalkeeper. I understand the pressure. You cannot just expect someone because they play well for another team to come in and replicate their performances. It's a whole different game. I knew that this process would have taken at least 5 years. I expected 3 to 5 years to find a new goalkeeper minimum, which is why we should have kept De Gea while we were looking for another goalkeeper. If I had a voice, if I was someone at the club, I would have said keep De Gea. If you want to buy Onana as well, if Onana doesn't work out, you still have the option to go back to De Gea. We have a young kid on the goalkeeper on the bench. I don't know if he's ready to play or not. I don't know anything about him, to be honest. But what I do know is that letting go of De Gea at this moment in time is a huge, huge mistake. But on today's game, Onana um, fumbled across, lost us the game. Let's be honest. I think if that was De Gea, people would be out, like probably giving him death threats or something because it's Onana and everyone is like, "Oh, Onana, the new goalkeeper." I'm gonna give Onana. You got Casemiro. Okay, let's no. I'm giving him a 2 because I was going to give him a 3 and be a bit generous, but he got Casemiro sent off. So Casemiro's been banned for the next game. We could have conceded from that penalty if Icardi just what the hell? I don't know what he did. Because Casemiro was sent off, we lost the last goal. I don't know what he was doing on the first goal. The second goal, I think, was unstoppable for him. He fumbled across. That pass he played was terrible, and I see no improvement in passing out the back from De Gea, claiming crosses. If you saw the cross he just fumbled today, I don't see him claiming any other crosses. Shot stopping, clear downgrade. 2 for me. Dallo, yeah, he got a mistake on the first goal. I think his overall performance is good though. To be honest, I'll probably give him a 5.5 because obviously you got to knock him down for the mistake. I mean, it's not really a mistake. It was just Zaha was very, very strong in that tackle. Not in the tackle, in that challenge. But I'll go 5.5 for Dallo. Yeah, you got to knock him down a few points for the mistake. But I think his overall game was pretty good. I think I'm happy with his overall game. His overall performances in the last few games have been pretty solid. For me, how I would navigate the Dallo and Bissaka situation is I would keep Dallo as the main right back, but whenever there's a prolific left winger, someone like Grealish or Saha or Mitoma, in those games I'd bring Wan-Bissaka in because Dallo is such an electric player going forward, and he can do the defensive side as well. He can do the defending well, but he's just got so much energy and so much more confidence in the final third. Varane, Varane's been one of our best players this season. I think the nutmeg was unlucky. I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him a 6 because I think just that second goal was a bit. Yeah, 6 is average, by the way, so 5 is below average. Lindelof, I think again had a good game. Again, just caught out on the second goal. I'd probably give him a 6 as well. These Lindelof, Varane, Casemiro, even Amrabat are the least of my worries. Least of my worries at this club. People will target these players because you can't because they're foreign. I don't understand why people want to target them, but they are the least of my worries. Amrabat, poor. The third goal was mainly on him. He got outpaced. He got found out at left back. He didn't really have an influence on the game like he did against Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup. I think he's going to be a great signing, and I think we'll see how well he does. His first game was incredible. His second game, until we conceded, was very good. And then but since that goal against Crystal Palace, rest of that game and today as well, I haven't really noticed him, and he made a couple mistakes. I mean, the second goal, he's playing our position. He's not a left back. He's not a pacey player. You can't really blame him for that. He's not meant to do that role. But the second goal, I don't really blame him. The third goal, he has to do better. I'd probably give him a 4. Casemiro, I'd probably give him a 5 because I've got to knock him down for the red card. Even though it wasn't really his fault, his passing was sloppy today. But I think he did well in the defensive side. Some of his passing was very poor today, and he obviously got the red card. So I have to give him a 5. Mount, I think, was good. I liked his performance. I'll give Mount a 6. I think in the very first few games I was really unhappy with the signing. I didn't understand why we bought him. The last few games, the midfield balance with Mount in the midfield has been a lot better than the games against Tottenham and Wolves. And I think Arsenal, if he played, it's a lot better. He had a good performance, unlucky with a couple shots. I think Hannibal, 6.5. I don't know why he came off at halftime. Maybe injury or Ten Hag would have thought differently, but 6.5 for me. Him and Mount in the first half, with the way they dribbled, and were able to spin off the midfielders and get us into the final third through quick transitions, was very, very good. So I'll give Hannibal a 6.5. Fernandez looked better on the wing today. I think it was better to play him on the wing than in the other. To be honestly, he didn't really do anything wrong. None of the goals were his fault. He could have got a goal. He made a few good passes. I'll give him a 6. I think usually in the last few games the attack has always been the problem. I don't think it was today. Rashford, better performance than what he had previously. He was subpar in previous games. Every time he was on the right hand side, he looked better today. But we didn't. He was playing on the right hand side for less than a minute. But every time he was on the right hand side, he could have done something. He got an assist and then almost got another assist if he passed better. I'll give him a 6 because I think that if he made a better decision on the final ball for Bruno, we could have won that game. Højlund, probably a 7.5. The only real well done player on that team. Definitely man of the match for Man United. Brilliant player. Eriksen, 5.5. When he came on in the first 15 minutes, he was playing incredible passes, and then after that, he played some really bad passes. The passes he played were quite poor. When he came on, I thought it was like, yo, we took off Hannibal, who's an incredible dribbler. We brought on Eriksen, who's brought passing element of the game, making incredible passes in the game, and then just fell off. I think ever since that injury in April, or whenever he came back from that injury from, was it Andy Carroll or someone, he's looked off the pace. But again, I wouldn't worry too much. I'm pretty sure he's an experienced player and he can bring it back. He just needs to be a bit more physical. To be fair, today he was a bit physical. I did like his physicality today. It was a lot better than In other games, there were times I was like, "Ooh, is he going to win that 50-50?" And he won it today. When other games, I'd be scared that if he was going to win it or not. I think I knock him down because some of his passing in the last half an hour wasn't that great. Garnacho, 5 point. You couldn't really do anything. It wasn't really his fault. I'll give him a 6. Like, what could he have done? I'll give all the subs a 6. Anthony 6 and Martial a 6. Like, what could they have done? They came on when we were with 10 men. Garnacho was obviously a bit before that, and he had a good few crosses into the box. But what I like about Garnacho versus Rashford is that Garnacho seems to have an end product. Rashford does sometimes try and go through like a blind alley and lose the ball. Garnacho will never do that. He will always try a dribble, keep the ball, and do something with it, either playing a good cross or a good shot or something. Anthony, to be fair, he didn't really do anything. I'll give him a generous 6 because, like, what could he have done? There's not much he could have done. He's just coming back from a long break from football. Martial unlucky with the shot at the end. It was a good save from Muslera. Oh, he was offside as well, wasn't he? But yeah, I think today was honestly the first time I could say that the defense let us down. I say mainly, obviously the Dallo mistake wasn't really a mistake, but it was just his player. Onana, I don't know what that was. Amrabat, lack of pace, and then a ball pass. I don't really mind the lack of pace. That's again, I think the second goal is if we had a left back and we weren't so injury hit, we wouldn't have conceded that. And the third goal was we're down to 10 men, no one knows what they're doing. Amrabat plays a poor pass. I think we were very, very unlucky today. And I think that I don't think we played particularly brilliantly, but we exploited Galatasaray well. And it's a game that we really, really should have won.